All right, does anybody have any questions? Life, the universe, fashion tips, dating advice.
I'm going to throw this question out there just because, Val and I were talking about this Tuesday. And it's, I think most of us in this group probably know the answer to this one, but I would kind of like to hear Myodo elaborate on it, which is, what is truth?
The truth is that your jacket is olive drab. The truth is that we are sitting here on Zoom tonight as a Sangha. So what is truth is one of those classic koan questions, and I just gave you two answers to it. When we talk about truth in Buddhism, we don't necessarily mean the one truth, because there are many truths. In this moment, there are many things that are true. It's true that we're all on Zoom. It's true that we're all in different cities. So there's two right there. We're all wearing different colors except for Oscar and me. So there's all kinds of truths. And what koans are pointing to frequently is what's happening now. So present moment answers are generally what we're looking for. And if the koan wants something else, it will tell you that. It will give you a story. Zen Master X and Zen Master Y were walking down the street, and X said this, and Y countered with this, and X said this, and Y said that, and what would you do if you were there? Well, now we're no longer in the present moment. We're there, we're in the story. So it'll ask you. And so that's a different kind of koan. But present moment koans are very, very common, very, very typical. And they're useful because they help us to stay focused right here, right now. What's happening now? What's going on in this moment? We tend to spend a large part of our time either in the future or in the past. The future hasn't happened yet, doesn't exist. The past is only a memory. Did it really exist? Did it exist the way I remember it? Right? So this is why eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable. You get three people who witnessed the same event. The truck was three different colors. Okay? And there's biological reasons for that in the brain, why we don't always record things accurately when we're under stress. So if it's a stressful situation, you see an accident, something happens, someone's injured, it doesn't always get recorded correctly because there's a little bit of an interrupt due to the stress response. So who knows what happened in the past? We certainly don't know what's going to happen in the future. So questions like, what is the truth? Bring us back right now, right here. What's true now in this moment? It's a very good centering question, by the way, if you deal with anxiety. Anxiety is usually worrying about things that may or may not ever happen. You know, I think as a country, we had a little bit of collective anxiety this week leading up to Inauguration Day. Is there going to be another uprising? Are more people going to be injured and killed? And hoping that that did not happen. And then there was kind of this collective sigh of relief when nothing bad happened. But when we start worrying about things that are completely beyond our control, because to the best of my knowledge, none of us are in the National Guard, none of us were called up to go to the Capitol and keep the peace. We don't have to worry about that. What is the truth? The truth is I am 3,000 miles away from that in a suburb, and I'm pretty much as safe as I can get. The truth is there's nothing I can do about this. The truth is I just have to wait and see. So what is the truth is a very good centering question if you have anxiety. What's happening now is another way of asking that question. What's going on in this moment? That thing is in the future, it's imaginary, we don't know. So that's a long answer to what you thought was a really simple question. But yeah, there's an infinite number of possible correct answers for what is the truth. Anybody else?
I would like to ask to go off on that. Yes, I hear that the only moment that's real or true is what's happening place right now. However, at the same time, I think that whatever is happening right now is rife with ephemerality. So I'm wondering if it's what's actually taking place right now, or is it the process?
That's a very good question. I think that it's the same thing because everything is always a process. And in Buddhism, we embrace that ephemerality, right? Changing, 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 changing. Impermanence. We try to be comfortable with that. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, the moment is just, it's part of the process. It's like, I've got my mala. Each moment is a bead on the mala. And so we count the mala and the beads pass and we flow along, but the mala as a whole is what gives us a sense of continuation, of solidity, which we know really isn't true. It's just one bead, one bead. So here I have this bead. These other beads don't count. Only the bead I have counts because that's the only bead I can hold. So I can only hold one bead at a time. That's it. I can only hold one moment of time. My mala represents time. And then I move on to the next bead and I can only hold that one. And then I move on to the next one and I can only hold that one. But there's an awareness of the past and future, of the process. And that's what makes it all make sense. Am I answering your question or did I not get it, what you're trying to ask me?
You answered my question.
Good. My pleasure.
Thank you.
I think I was just reading something recently from Thich Nhat Hanh in which he was saying that the present is made up of the past and the future, that there is an interbeing with the past and the future in the present moment, which, you know, kind of the same thing, only just a different terminology of that.
Yeah,
I think it was like a residue, right? There's residues of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Thich Nhat Hanh describes things very eloquently. Residue is a nice term. I just called it an awareness of them. However, whatever word works for you, works for you to conceptualize it, then go with that. But he uses that word interbeing a lot when he talks about connections between things, connections between people, connections in the flow of time. And yeah, he has a very beautiful way of describing things. For any of you who have never read any of Thich Nhat Hanh's books, start, because they're really good. And they're very different, you know, so find a subject you're interested in and start there, because he's written a lot. Yeah. Anyone else? Everyone knows it all. You ready for the test? No, I'm kidding. There's no test. That's just what I used to say to my college students. Okay, so all ready for the test? If you really want to get questions going in a group, for those of you who are becoming teachers or are teachers already, just say, clear your desks, and every hand in the room goes up. But wait, I have a question. Yeah. All right. What time is it? Okay, so I'm just going to say a couple of words about chanting for the departed, because we're going to probably we are going to be doing it every week for the next few weeks. I want to do the 49 days for Joanne, and we will do that for whomever else comes up, and then we may continue it, because I don't think we're going to be done with COVID in 7 weeks, so we may just continue. And pardon my little dog in the background. He's just making all kinds of disgusting sounds. He's one of the Tibetan breeds, and they're very phlegmatic, so he coughs, spits a lot. But he's cute, so he's worth it. So I mentioned a little bit ago that one of the reasons we chant for the departed is for those who remain behind, so that they feel comforted. And that's one of the main things that we do as spiritual practitioners, is answer the great question, how may I help you? And it can be as simple as doing some chanting. You know, our Jijong Bosal chant takes under 5 minutes. And I let Joanne's daughter know we had done that, and she was touched by it. So isn't that worthwhile? Isn't that worth doing? That's a really huge return on investment, if you pardon the business expression. You know, 5 minutes and you touch someone's heart. Wow. So that's a really great reason to chant for the departed. The second reason is because it operates on our hearts. It's one of those good heart-opening things that we do because we're doing it for someone else. And some of you have never met Joanne. You don't even know who I'm talking about. She owned the bookstore next door to my yoga studio. She was 85 years old, delightful lady, really great friend, and someone I will miss for a long time. But especially when you don't know the person and you're willing to chant for them, that does some work on your soul. That grows your soul to do that kind of thing and say, yeah, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to really open my heart to compassion and send good feelings, good vibes, if you will, good emotional energy to this person that I may have never even have met. So that's the second reason. So for others, for ourselves, and then for the departed is the third reason. And this part gets a little woo-woo, so just hang with me. Jijong Bosal is the bodhisattva of travelers, which includes people crossing through the bardo, the indeterminate state between this life and whatever their next life is. Do we have any empirical scientific evidence that this being exists and has these powers? No. So we have to take it on faith. Now, we're 21st century Americans, so we may go, no, you know, I get that some birth Buddhists do this, people who were raised from the cradle with this, they do it, they believe it, but I don't know. That's okay. Great doubt is okay. Great skepticism is okay. But I invite you to remember that just because we don't have a scientific instrument to measure it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Germs existed a long time before we had microscopes to see them. Gravity exists a long time before we had any way of measuring it. Okay, same thing with light. So keep an open mind, and who knows? Who knows? I think of Jijong Bosal and the other bodhisattvas as being energy fields that we can tap into. That's my own personal view on that. You don't have to agree with me to study with me. It's fine. Everyone is welcome to their own opinion because I don't have any science on this either, okay? So all I've got is my opinion, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with the fact that there is some doubt and uncertainty surrounding a lot of the things that I take on faith. That's what faith means. So it's all good. It's all good. So for the third thing then is to do it for the deceased. But even if you don't believe that, you still got the first two. It comforts the living and it grows your soul. And then if it does help the deceased, that's icing on the cake, right? Yeah. So that's why we chant for the departed. And I thank you all very much for your willingness to participate in that. All right, let's meditate. Let's sit. So some of you I haven't seen in a long time, so I'm going to give the 30-second meditation instruction. Find a comfortable seat. Try to keep your spine straight, lungs open so you can take some deep breaths. Breathe in to roughly a count of 3 and ask the great question, what is this? And breathe out to roughly a count of 7 and answer the question with, don't know. Not I don't know. Because we don't want to solidify this separate sense of self, right? We're back to Thich Nhat Hanh's interbeing. We want to be collective here. We want together action. So just don't know. It keeps us open and teachable in the moment. So what is this? Don't know. All right. All right, everybody. It was great to see everybody. So wonderful. And please come back. Those of you we haven't seen in a while, Larry and Alfonso, I hope that you will join us on a regular basis. It's just good to see you. Good to have your energy, your questions, your presence back in the group. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week.
Nice seeing
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Nice seeing you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.